Hi, I'm Melissa Barnes. I'm the Director of Counseling and Student Development here at Grace Harbor College. And Chandra has asked us to make a little video that will introduce some of the services that we feel might be most relevant for human services students. So we're going to focus on 4 things: career counseling, personal counseling, the human development classes that we offer, and our support for students with disabilities. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Brian Shook, who will talk about career counseling.
Yeah, so hi, my name is Brian Shook, and I am a counselor in the Student Support Center, and I want to talk to you about one of the services we have here, and that's career counseling. So we know that when students have a clear career goal and a path how to obtain that, they're going to be more successful. And I can remember back when I was in community college, I didn't have a clear goal, and it wasn't until I got the help of others that I finally kind of crystallized my path. And so I really enjoy helping others find the path for their career. So if you were going to come talk to us in a career counseling appointment, there's several things we might do. We might ask you some questions to get you to think about yourself and what's important to you and how that relates to career. We also have several assessments that assess personality characteristics, interests, values, skills. And here's an example of some of them. We have a strong interest inventory, which is a popular one with students. We can administer that. And we often use a career card sort. I have a values card sort that I find useful. Also, once you've started to pick a different career, we have some tools to help you just research about that. We can point you towards those tools. And when it's time to apply for jobs, we can help you develop your resume and interview skills. And I have a belief that those are skills that can be learned, and I enjoy helping people improve those skills.
Next is personal counseling. I know Chandra encourages human services students to get some personal counseling, and I think it's beneficial for anybody who's going to be working deeply with people to do some personal counseling to work on your own stuff, and we all have some, in order to not be bringing it into the work with clients. So you can get that here as a student. We have 3 master's level personal counselors, Vivian Kaler, Brian Shook, and myself, and we each have our own styles of working and some of the different methods that we use. And we're going to do a couple of little demos here to let you see our styles. And also, I encourage you, if you would like to observe a whole counseling session, to team up with a classmate, and we can have each of you observe the other as you're having a counseling session. So we're very open to that. Okay, hi Holly.
Hi.
So, how can I be helpful to you today?
Well, I'm feeling really anxious. I'm just so overwhelmed with school,
Yeah.
and I think that's probably normal, but I take it home with me. I just constantly am worrying. I can't sleep.
Yeah,
I can't eat. In the morning before I come to school, my stomach really hurts.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a pretty high level of anxiety.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah, how long has this been going on?
about probably a week before the quarter started, I just, when I was getting my books and just thinking about all the things I need to do.
Yeah, so it feels like it's related to school.
Yeah, I think so, because this is my first quarter. I didn't have it, before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so it's kind of an episodal thing. Maybe when you take on something new in life or something like that, then it maybe brings it up.
Yeah, I had not as bad, but once when I started a job as a teenager, just first month, just feeling overwhelmed and I just can't settle down or stop thinking about it.
Yeah, it's just all the time.
Yeah.
So would it be helpful, do you think, to learn some tools to help you to manage the anxiety? Is that what you're hoping for?
Yeah, because it's all consuming. I just don't know what to do. So it would probably be really helpful.
Okay, so we're going to start with a little tool right now.
Okay.
And this is a breathing exercise.
Okay.
So basically, let's do a quick little breath check to see how you are breathing now. So take a couple of deep breaths and see what part of your body moves up and down with the breath.
Well, I really feel it in my chest and my shoulders.
In your shoulders, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I call a high breather. And that means you're pulling the air down part way down your lungs, but not all the way down to the bottom of your lungs. And when you pull it all the way down to the bottom, that actually gives an automatic message to your nervous system to relax. So I'm going to kind of show you. So if you breathe, you're going to feel like your belly and your midriff are kind of coming in and out with the breath. So try a few breaths that way, and I'll do it with you.
Okay. Kind of like pay it from my shoulders
Yeah.
down to my
Yes.
belly. Yeah.
Yes.
I can. It kind of is like
Yeah.
my body
so
to
you
kind of
can
relax.
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real physiological thing. You don't actually even have to believe it. And this is a wonderful method to do anytime that you're entering any situation that is making you feel anxious. If you feel anxiety starting to come on, or you're about to do something that generally does tend to make you anxious, go into this breathing. So a little slower and deeper, and it's into the belly. And do that for, like, if you can, do it for 10 minutes before doing whatever's going on, or while you're doing whatever's going on. Because the nice thing is nobody will know that you're doing it.
Okay.
Okay. So normally I wouldn't go quite so quickly into an exercise, but in order to give you a little sample, I moved rather quickly into that.
So an issue that a good number of students face is the issue of depression. And if you were going to come and talk to me about depression, the first thing I would do is try to really listen and understand where you're coming from and the issues around depression. Then we together pick an approach that we think would work best. And cognitive approaches have been found to be pretty successful with depression, and there are several techniques that we could try. We might think, because the way we think about and interpret our experiences and the world has an effect on how we feel. So we might look at the thoughts that come up while you're feeling depressed and then see if there are any cognitive distortions associated with those thoughts. So for example, Jenny here, by all measures, is a very successful student. She has a 3.95 grade point average, is the vice president of the Honor Society here on campus, has received several scholarships, and just found out that she is accepted to the four-year school of her choice. And she has told me that she has based her self-esteem on her achievements, and she has earned praise for a lot of her academic work, but she's never felt that intrinsic self-worth that she wants to feel, and she hardly ever gives herself any credit for the work she's done. So, Jenny, last time I saw you, we identified some thoughts that go through your mind when you're feeling depressed. And the first one we have written down here is, I'm so dumb and incapable. Now, I'd like to ask you, from 0% to 100%, how much do you believe that thought? How much do you believe it's true?
I'd say about 95%.
Okay, so a big part of you believes it's true, but there's 5% that has some doubt that maybe it's not true.
I guess there's a little bit of doubt there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second thought is, pretty soon everybody will find out that I'm defective. You know, from 0 to 100, how much do you believe that thought is true?
100%.
Okay, 100%.
Yeah.
And now we've identified some thoughts. I'd like to ask you to look through this list of cognitive distortions and see if any of those distortions might apply to those thoughts you wrote down.
This first one, all or nothing thinking, I have a tendency to look at my achievements in a black and white way. You know, if my work isn't utterly spectacular, then I judge it as being no good at all.
Okay.
So things are really black and white for me. And then also, yeah, the overgeneralization, that would apply to me. I tend to overgeneralize my performance. So if I fail a task, then I just feel like I'm a failure.
Okay.
And I think about it.
Sure. So you fail one task and then generalize it, well, if I failed that one task, then me as a whole person must be
Right.
defective.
Yeah,
Okay.
that task kind of defines me.
Right.
So, yeah.
And now, so we've identified some thoughts and we've found some cognitive distortions in those thoughts. Now let's try out a cognitive technique. And the first one I think might be useful is the double standard technique.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you to imagine that you're talking to a really close friend. And this close friend is someone who is exactly like you in almost every way. So this close friend is studying microbiology, wants to be a microbiologist. And they have a 3.95 grade point average like you do. They just got some scholarships, got into the school of their choice.
Mm-hmm.
And your friend tells you that, I feel so dumb. And I'm getting depressed because I feel so incapable. And I also thinking to myself, pretty soon everybody's going to find out that I'm defective. Now, if you were talking to that friend, how would you approach that? What would you say to her?
Well, if it was a friend, I would probably say, are you kidding? Look what, you've accomplished. How can you be dumb with a 3.9 GPA?
Right.
And look at your scholarships and, you got into Harvard. And so I think I would tell her what I thought she accomplished a lot and I admired her for what she's done. I'd probably try to dispute, what she was saying because it doesn't, what she's accomplished doesn't reflect what she's saying or thinking.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, so when you're talking to her, what's going on in your mind is what you're saying doesn't seem to match these other parts of you. Okay, good. Yeah. Well, give us some more to talk about. So I teach 2 human development classes. I teach Human Development 111, which is career options and life planning. I teach that every fall. And then Human Development 151 is interpersonal skills, and I teach that class every spring. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about those classes. So in the career class, it's kind of broken up into 3 sections. The first section is we do lots of self-assessment, take personality, interest, skills, values assessments. And then once you know a little bit more about yourself, for the second part of the class, we explore different careers where you can find a career that fits well with what you learned about yourself. Then the third part of the class is learning job hunting skills, like how to apply for jobs, how to write resumes, and we do lots of interview practice in the class as well. So in the spring, I teach interpersonal skills. And we know that your success in school or in the job or even in your personal life depends a lot on how you communicate with people. So this class dives into some communication topics such as being assertive, active listening, starting conversations with people you haven't met before, some validating strategies, fighting fair with people you are close to, talk about different levels of disclosure, body language, and different ways to express yourself. And I really enjoy teaching this class because you will learn some tools that you're not going to find in any other class on campus.
So the stress management and wellness class is offered winter quarter. It's my one class, and I teach it once a year. And it's a 2-credit class that's really helps students focus on how to get their stress under control. So we do a lot of different things. It's a very experiential class. We never just sit and talk. We're always doing different activities. There's a lot of group interaction. We work on everything from breathing exercise, body awareness, relaxation exercises, meditation, yoga, anger management. We also look at how we might be adding to our stress with our thoughts. So we look at our thought patterns and our beliefs about ourselves. And also we look even at lifestyle, like exercise and diet, to do all the pieces that we can bring together to help to bring our stress under control.
Hi, I'm Holly Leonard, and other than being the Student Support Center actress, I also run the Disability Support Services here on campus. And this program provides accommodations for students that have a documented disability that impacts their learning. And so I work with a variety of different students that have different disabilities. Some have medical, physical disabilities, some have learning disabilities. I work with students with ADHD or hearing and vision impairments. We also have some students that have psychological disabilities such as depression, anxiety, bipolar. So any condition that an individual may have that impacts their learning, we look to see if we can provide accommodations to help them make sure they have equal access to their education. So if you'd like to learn more about the Disability Support Services and possibly if you qualify for accommodations, please stop by my office. I'm in the Student Support Center and love to talk with you. Thanks.